So the video gave you insights about B. Brown Medical. The next video will give you brief insight on what are knee replacement and hip replacement implants. So it's a part of medical device industry, and orthopedic implants are considered to be like biggest part of medical device industry. This video is about a medical device company called Smith& Nephew, and this video will help you understand how device material plays a big role in the device itself. So majority of the companies have their technology patented, and the type of material is used as one of the marketing tools.
Today's hip and knee replacement patients are doing more, living more, and expecting more than ever before. Smith & Nephew continues to keep pace with the anticipations of this more demanding and often active patient population. With this in mind, global implant maker Smith & Nephew is pleased to offer Verilast technology, the combination of oxinium alloy with highly cross-linked polyethylene. The proprietary oxinium alloy represents the first truly new material in hip and knee replacements in over 20 years. Unlike other implants, which are typically made from either a metal or ceramic material, oxinium implants offer the benefits of both. Implants made from this exclusive material offer the biocompatibility, durability, strength, and corrosion resistance that today's high-demand patients expect to live an active and fulfilling life. Oxinium alloy offers many key patient advantages that set it apart from other current market offerings. Unlike traditional implants, oxinium implants are made from zirconium alloy. Zirconium alloy contains extremely low levels of nickel, cobalt, and chromium. Second, oxinium implants are designed to be more durable than devices made of conventional metallic materials. Like your natural joints, knee and hip implants can wear down over time. Because of its hard ceramic surface, this concern is greatly reduced with oxinium implants. Plus, this unique material resists roughening and maintains its smooth surface better than other materials. Its lower coefficient of friction indicates oxinium is less likely to wear down the plastic components. Moreover, likely due to this, oxinium alloy has been shown to lead to a more rapid recovery of flexion on a daily basis for patients. Next, oxinium implants are strong. As two of the largest joints in the body, our knees and hips are subjected to tremendous pressures even during routine, everyday activities. For example, the weight pressing against these joints during a simple walk can be 5 to 6 times your natural body weight. Because oxinium implants are metal, they can easily withstand forces far greater than these. In fact, oxinium components have been successfully tested during hundreds of millions of simulated steps walking, jogging, stair climbing, and twisting. Other materials have been known to fracture during testing and in real life under these loads. And finally, because of the oxinium alloy's properties, it has been shown to be more corrosion resistant than other bearing alternatives such as cobalt chrome and stainless steel. Smith & Nephew is proud of oxinium oxidized zirconium.
So this video helped you understand that in a medical device industry, it is very important that what kind of material is used to manufacture a particular product. Now let's jump to the next one. That is Dentsply Sirona, and it's a dental company. So Dentsply Sirona is an American dental equipment manufacturer, and I worked in sales and marketing department of Dentsply Sirona and dealt with dental implants and various other medical devices related to dentistry. I have assisted dental surgeons in performing dental implant surgeries. As a product manager, I have conducted several workshops and demonstrations for dental surgeons to generate revenue. The video I'm going to share gives you perspective on factors associated with selling a product in global market. And the video also defines the specific requirements pertaining to medical device sold in Europe. The important thing to note is regulatory requirements are country specific, and individual country specific regulatory requirements must be satisfied to sell a medical device in a particular country.
Companies in the medical device industry have an unprecedented impact on human health. Because of this, they are under increasing scrutiny from governments, investors, consumers, and non-governmental organizations. Medical device companies are also in scope of various global regulations, many of which govern how products are made and how they make it to market. These regulations cover topics in the areas of product compliance, corporate social responsibility, and vendor management. Product compliance encompasses all aspects of product sourcing and materials management, but 4 major regulations have the greatest impact. The EU Registration, Evaluation, Authorization, and Restriction of Chemicals Regulation, better known as REACH. The EU Restriction of Hazardous Substances Directive, better known as RoHS. The EU Medical Device Regulation, and the EU Waste Framework Directive. Each of these regulations has diverse and unique requirements, such as communication of substances in products to downstream users and consumers, restrictions on substances in products above a certain threshold, certification of medical devices by notified bodies, and the reporting of substances in articles into a central database. Companies must meet the requirements of these regulations and many others to keep their products on the market. In addition to these substance requirements, medical device companies may have corporate social responsibility requirements to meet. Many also report voluntarily on topics such as human trafficking, slavery, and responsible mineral sourcing in order to meet stakeholder expectations and add value to their brand. Robust trade compliance programs are essential in getting products to market. This includes affixing accurate country of origin labels to products and assigning the correct customs codes for the regions they are being sold into. In addition to ensuring access to a variety of markets, this helps companies identify the free trade agreement exemptions they may be eligible for.
Okay, so the video also gave you the insights on how important it is for regulatory authorities in each country to develop a specific requirement which is specific to that particular country. Now, current position, I'm working as a process lead certification in TÜV Südamerika, which is a notified body. You must have heard in previous video that it is important that medical device manufacturers have approval from notified body. So currently I'm working for a notified body called TÜV Südamerika, and notified bodies are responsible for assessing and recertifying most medical devices and IVDs, allowing products to be placed on the market. New regulations introduce new obligations for notified bodies and will require the assessment of more products than ever before. Declaration of conformity for a medical device manufacturer across the globe by providing certification of conformity, allowing import and export of products as per country-specific regulation. So currently, I'm personally dealing with 3 types of certifications, which are MDSAP, ISO 13485, and 9001. MDD and MDR are specific to Europeans. I have also shown the example of type of certificate which I provide, and I've provided a certificate to my previous company, that is Dentsply Implants. So you can see that it shows what kind of a certificate it is, that is MDSAP. It shows certificate holder and address, our TÜV Süd mark, the scope of the certificate on what this manufacturer is covering. Regulatory authorities which this certificate covers, that is Australia, Brazil, Canada, and America. It also shows the effective date and expiry date of the certificate. So they have to renew it every 3 years, and there has to be audit every year. So the first video will give you a brief about TÜV Süd as a company and the services provided. second video will provide you brief on cardiovascular market as a therapeutic segment. And video also shows on how TÜV as a company can assist in medical device certification. Overall, we cover all the therapeutic segments, but this is just specific to cardiovascular. But the process is quite similar to what we see in the cardiovascular department.
Cardiovascular medical devices save countless lives yearly and dramatically improve the quality of life of millions around the world. The global market for cardiovascular devices is expected to reach $121 billion by the year 2024. This continuous growth offers significant opportunities for medical device manufacturers. However, the design, development, and manufacturing of advanced implantable cardiovascular devices and other high-risk medical devices is a complex, time-consuming, and investment-intensive process for device manufacturers. New technologies must be identified, evaluated, and certified to confirm their safety and performance, according to the stringent requirements of the EU medical device legislation. This process can be challenging and requires in-depth technical knowledge and extensive regulatory expertise. TÜV SÜD, the world's largest EU-notified body for the full scope of medical devices, has in-depth knowledge and experience with the medical device requirements in the EU and other major markets around the world. Our global team of cardiovascular specialists provide regulatory assessments with dedicated experts on topics ranging from regulatory, technical, and clinical areas, as well as specific fields like tissues of animal and human origin, absorbable materials, and medicinal substances. As predictability and time to market are paramount to customers, our team of dedicated project managers ensure resources are used efficiently to meet project deadlines. We know each company and each project has different needs. Therefore, we offer customized services as well as expedited assessments to meet even the most ambitious project timelines. To prepare the transition process, we also offer pilot assessments of the technical documentation and pilot quality system audits against the requirements of the MDR. With a global network of about 600 dedicated medical health and services professionals, including noted scientists and physicians, we are the preferred single source for worldwide compliance with medical device regulations, represented in all major markets. To know more about TÜV SÜD's cardiovascular medical devices certification, visit us at www.tufsud.com/cardiovascular-medical-devices.
Now let's move ahead to medical device definition and classification so that we have better understanding of what actually is medical device and how it is considered in European and US markets. So let's start with the US market first. So the brief video about medical device definition, classification of device as per US FDA and importance of classification of a device.
In this module, we'll discuss what defines a product as a medical device in the eyes of the FDA. We'll also go over the importance of proper device classification before moving on to the different classifications and then finally how they're classified. Step 1 is device classification. The way the FDA classifies your product lays the groundwork and determines the number and complexity of requirements of the rest of the process. This page displays the official recognized definition directly from Section 201H of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. As you can see, it's very precise. The short version: a medical device is something used to diagnose, cure, treat, mitigate, or prevent a disease. It is also used in restoring, correcting, or modifying a body function. The United States divides medical devices into 3 classifications: Class 1, 2, and 3. The classification depends on a number of factors, including how similar it is to an existing device. Obviously, the higher the classification, the more it is regulated. The classification of medical devices is initially determined on its intended use, indications for use, and the risk to the patient or user. Class 1 devices represent the lowest level of risk as they are not complicated to operate. Examples of Class 1 devices include a scalpel or a scale. Class 2 represent a higher amount of risk, as improper operation or a malfunction of the device could lead to injury. Examples include some hospital beds and an IF stimulator. Class 3 are the high-risk devices, as a device failure, user error, or even implementation could result in a fatality. Examples include a pacemaker or a heart valve. The entire process of bringing your device to market can be long and arduous, so it's crucial to get it right the first time. Improper classification can cost you a significant amount of money and delay the introduction of your device into the market. Also, when a new device is classified, it lays the groundwork by which other similar devices are compared. The FDA uses a system that compares all device applications to devices already cleared for sale in the US. Therefore, it's very important for you to identify similar devices already cleared by the FDA using the Product Classification Database. This is a central repository of all registered medical devices. Using this database, you can compare and contrast your product to determine its classification. Here's how it works. From the FDA's homepage, just click the Medical Devices tab, and then find the Tools and Resource section on the right-hand side of the page, and then click Medical Device Databases. Scroll down and select Product Classification. Next, input a general description or product type in the search field, then click Search. For example, electrocardiograph. A list of devices matching your search criteria comes up. Just select a similar device to yours. This one should do the trick. Clicking it brings up the device type page where we can look at an overview of the device type, which includes the regulation number, recognized standards, which we'll discuss in a later module, guidance documents, and other helpful information. The next thing you want to do is click the registration number link. Read the description at the bottom of the page. If it is a clear match to your product, you're good to go. Notice the device classification is stated at the end. Now I know that based on the matching description in the database, my electrocardiograph is a Class 2 device. That brings us to the end of this section. We discussed the definition of a medical device and how important proper classification is. We then took a look at the distinctions between classes and how you go about determining your device's classification. In our next module, we'll examine quality management systems.
Right, so that was about US FDA, and the next video will be overview on European classification of medical device and requirements for placing a product in European market.
Europe. 500 million people, 28 member states and growing, 20 plus languages, and fortunately, only one approval process for medical devices. It's the world's second largest device market. Interested in getting your share of the European market? We'll tell you how. First, let's take a look at how Europe regulates medical devices. In Europe, medical devices are regulated by ministries of health in each country, known as competent authorities. Europe has a harmonized system called CE marking certification that gets you access to over 30 European markets. Third-party certification companies also play an important role in the process. We'll explain more about them later. By now, you probably know that most countries group medical devices according to the risk they pose to patients and users. This classification scheme determines the regulatory pathway. Europe actually has two categories of Class 1 devices: those provided sterile or with a measuring function, and those that are not. There are also two Class 2 categories, 2A and 2B. Finally, there are high-risk devices, Class 3. You can determine your device classification by reviewing Annex 9 of the Medical Devices Directive. If you do not have an office in Europe, you'll need to appoint an authorized representative in Europe, also known as an EC rep. The EC rep acts as the regulatory liaison between you and a specific country's competent authority. You have two options in appointing an EC rep, assuming you have no office in Europe. You can appoint a distributor, or you can hire an independent third-party company. This is an important decision because the authorized rep's name will appear on your device labeling in all European countries. Make sure you are comfortable working with them over the long term. Here's another important step in the process. Most manufacturers must comply with the quality system requirements in Annex 2 or 5 of the Medical Devices Directive. Typically, companies meet this requirement by implementing ISO 13485, the de facto standard for medical device quality management system. US FDA quality system compliance is not recognized in Europe. Once you have implemented ISO 13485, you will need to be audited by a European notified body. These organizations are accredited by a European Ministry of Health to conduct audits on their behalf. The notified body will actually issue your ISO 13485 certificate, and you'll need to undergo a recertification audit each year. If your device requires testing and has been tested to an international standard in another market, those testing reports will generally be accepted as part of your submission to your notified body. However, if there are European harmonized versions, this is the version to which your medical device should be compliant. Many notified bodies perform testing as well. A key part of the certification process involves the compilation of a technical file or design dossier. This collection of documentation contains extensive details about your device, including design drawings, testing results, clinical evaluation reports, instructions for use, and a risk analysis. You'll also include a copy of your ISO 13485 certificate. If you manufacture a Class 1 sterile, Class 1 measuring, Class 2A, 2B, or 3 device, it will be reviewed by your notified body. They will then issue your CE marking certificate for your device. Your CE marking certificate is issued for a certain period of time, typically 5 years, and remains valid for that duration, as long as you don't make substantive changes to the product, claims, its intended use, and your yearly surveillance reviews are successful. So how long does it take to get approval in Europe? It varies widely, but we have a detailed chart available on our website that provides information for all classes of devices sold in Europe. We hope this short presentation has given you a basic understanding of the European regulatory process for medical devices. Want to learn more? We have flowcharts, articles, regulations, and other resources available online. www.emergogroup.com/Europe.
In this model,
Okay, now let's move ahead to the shared responsibility for medical device safety and performance. Medical device safety and performance requires that all stakeholders cooperate and share responsibilities. The role of each party have been described. The ideal conditions that will ensure the safety and performance of medical device requires shared responsibility by all stakeholders. And this need for cooperation is illustrated in the circle, wherein the manufacturer, government, public, user, which might be surgeon, vendor, which might be distributor, share responsibility towards the safety and performance of a medical device. The video gives you insights on why medical device regulations are mandated and why all stakeholders need to be vigilant about the product used as a medical device. Because in the next slide, we will concentrate on how governments can fulfill their part and their duties by implementing the regulation. But this short video, it's a small funny video. This is for FDA because they had a lot of instances wherein it was termed as medical device, but it didn't function as a device.
Ladies and gentlemen, step right up and see the great medical device quackery show right here on these very pages of America's popular books, magazines, and newspapers. All you have to do is read, believe, and buy. And you too can lose weight, feel younger, look beautiful, or cure yourself miraculously of any illness from corns to cancer.
Sound outrageous and ridiculous? Not to millions of unsuspecting Americans who are spending more than $1 billion a year on worthless quack medical devices. You can buy quack devices that claim to reduce your waist 2 to 4 inches in 3 days, increase the size of your bust, roll your bulges away, bring on sound, natural sleep, eliminate double chin, remove wrinkles, and stop skin from aging. Promoters for these products skillfully word ads to mislead and cheat you. Here are some of the devices the Food and Drug Administration and the Postal Service have brought to court for false representation. There is no known cure for arthritis. No device can increase the size of the bust. Nothing can cause weight loss except controlling what and how much you eat and a good exercise program. Sleeplessness has many causes. There is no one cure. No treatment or device can remove wrinkles or prevent skin from aging. These worthless devices will rob you of your money, your hopes, and your health. Here are some tips to help you recognize a quack for what it really is. Is it a secret device or remedy you can't buy from any other source? Is it being sold by mail order only? Does it promise easy cures and physical changes quickly? Does it claim to be better than other medically approved products? Does it show grateful users praising the product and telling how it helped them? Be a cautious consumer. Protect yourself and others by not buying these worthless products. But here's what to do if you are a victim of medical device quackery. Call your local postal service, Better Business Bureau, Consumer Product Safety Commission, or the Food and Drug Administration. Report the product and the problem to them, and to your doctor or hospital if there is an injury. You'll be protecting yourself and helping to put these quacks out of business forever.
So over the years, we have seen that a lot of quackery happening around medical devices, wherein the product is told to be used in a particular manner for its benefits, but it doesn't happen that way. And there is a lot of false representation which happens with medical device, which is completely prohibited as well as looked upon by FDA. Now, stages of government regulation, wherein there is a pre-market control, there is pre-market, placing on market, and post-market. This is how government tries to regulate medical device industry. So pre-market is conception and development, manufacture, packaging, and labeling. While placing on market, government regulates advertising and sale, and post-market it regulates use and disposal. So it's mainly to avoid the situation wherein a medical device is represented falsely or is placed on the market without any regulation. Now, let's start with the career option in medical device. And I would like to share the personal experience I had with all of the three which you see on the screen: sales and marketing, regulatory affairs, and project management. So let's start with and it is possible that there are many viable career options in the medical device industry, but these are the most recent ones which I have come across, as well as personally experienced, that there is increase in demand of this particular jobs. So first is medical device sales representative. This is actually the start of most of the for the entry level medical device jobs. Medical device sales rep must have complete knowledge on human anatomy. Sales rep should have thorough knowledge on the product. Medical device salesperson is contact person for surgeons, and salesperson has to assist the surgeon in this surgery. So the instruments and tools provided by the company are used for placing the implant. So salesperson must have technical knowledge on instruments used and must be able to provide surgeons with the essential trays during the surgery. The size of the implant and instruments required for implanting is an essential part, and salesperson should be aware about this. The size of the implant is the most important aspect, because during the surgery, a surgeon might require any size for a patient. So if you don't like blood, flesh, operating room, hospitals, this is not a correct path or career path for you. For me, I had started my career with B. Brown as a sales rep, and I have attended over 100 total knee replacement and total hip replacement surgeries. And now I'm acquainted with about at least 50 orthopedic surgeons across India. So this is a brief short video on a medical sales rep. And he's trying to explain us what the actual sales rep job does, or what's the requirement.
So hey, I'm Daryl Schuler. I'm a medical sales rep. I've been doing this a little under, I would say, a year now, probably about 9-10 months or so. I would say since I've started to now, I've learned a whole bunch. I first started off doing ankles. I was working with some of the doctors here in San Antonio, and now I do ankles, I do knees, and I do hips. I work with a couple companies. As far as ankles, I work with Integra Orthofix, and then on the hip knee portion, I work with Ortho Development. But I guess the way I started is, I mean, everybody kind of has their own way as far as how they got into the business. Mine was kind of more on the line of who I know. A buddy of mine that I met at a quinceañera of all places, he gave me an opportunity to get into the field. I had always wanted to, I just didn't really have a way of getting into it. I looked at some of the big companies out there, you know, Stryker, Zimmer, all those, the main ones that you hear about. And I had applied online before, just didn't really get any feedback yet. And then this opportunity came up, and you know, it's been going good ever since. As far as like a day-to-day for me, so juggling between the two companies, I would say most of my days, I'm at a hospital or a surgery center, usually by like 5:30 in the morning, sometimes 5 a.m., just to either I'm turning over trays or I'm getting trays ready for the case that day. You know, implants, just making sure everything is, you know, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, all that good stuff. And then after that, once I've got all the instruments in the room, you know, working with the surge tech to make sure we have all the instruments pulled. Usually I'll check over x-rays just in case we need to change any settings to any particular instruments or whatnot. Usually on a day-to-day, I will probably have maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 cases, depending who I'm working with. You know, I have some docs that, you know, they're 30 minutes or less type of docs, so that's always cool because you get in and get out. And then just depending on certain cases, some can take 2 hours, but sometimes I may be the 5th case and I may just be sitting around at the hospital kind of waiting. So during that time, I like to kind of, you know, get ahead for the next couple of days during the week. I will say the thing I like about it a lot is that I get to kind of dictate my schedule in a way. You know, I have a family, I have 2 kids, and so for me, the earlier my day starts, the more time I have later on in the day, go pick up kids, you know, go to the gym, get stuff ready for the next work day. So I would say, I've only been doing it a year, but I really like it. And I would recommend anybody else that's interested into the medical field, like, hey, being a rep is a good way to go. You know, you can always maximize your dollars, which is a good thing. I'm a 1099 rep, so it has its good, has its good and its bad days. But overall, I would definitely recommend it.
So as a medical sales rep, does it require any formal training, or is it all kind of on the job?
You get a lot of training. Like most companies, you kind of go through, once you get hired, you go through certain trainings and you go up level by level. Like if you pass this test or whatnot, then you can stay. Some of the companies are like, hey, if you pass this test, then, good riddance, thank you for coming out or whatnot. Having some medical background is definitely a plus. I know some of my colleagues are either ex techs or nurses, so that's definitely a bonus, having that medical background. If you don't, someone like me, you gotta read and study all day, every day. I try to surround myself with technique guides, anything I can read about the anatomy. Even my Instagram is like filled with me just following different doctors and different little sites out there, so I can just be surrounded by it as much as I can. So if you don't have any background, somebody like me, you just got to go the extra mile and kind of take all the trainings that the company gives you, that's been a blessing. And then obviously on your free time, study as much as you possibly can.
So as a medical sales rep, so you're in the operating room with the surgeons and the rest of the operating room staff.
Yep.
Can you talk about like what you're doing in surgery?
So basically what I do, like I was saying earlier, before we even a patient's in the room, I give the tech, make sure we have all the instruments there, everything the doc needs, just from, mallets all the way up to the implants, just making sure all that's in the room. And then after that, I'm communicating a lot with the tech, but I'm also, once we're starting the surgery, I'm communicating a lot with the tech, but then I'm also communicating with the doc a lot because some cases it's not always the same things that they do every day. It could have been a situation where I've been trying to get this doctor on board, and he finally says, hey, you know what, I'll give your your implant or your plate or whatnot, or your screw a shot, and it may be his first time, so I instruct them on how to implant it, what degrees, what type of cut, what pretty much everything from A to Z.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And any advice for anyone that's interested in becoming a medical sales rep? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say that, like I said, it definitely helps to have some type of medical background, but obviously you don't necessarily have to, but it does help, especially if you want to get in with some of these bigger companies. But I would say, kind of check online. That's how I first started, was just looking at different companies and looking to see what all I need to know, different certifications, anything like that will help, because not necessarily do they have enough time to get you up to speed when there's already so many other people that, like I said, are ex-nurses and techs and just LVNs, anybody else that's been in the business. Obviously they're going to have an upper hand on you, so try to come to the table with as much knowledge and certification, so whatever you can bring to the table will definitely help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. So
Right. So we did see that sales rep is an important part of the medical device industry. And I would like to say that sales manager earn the most in United States. They have higher package, higher salary, higher bonuses. And let's start with the medical device product manager or marketing. It's more like product manager is intertwined with medical device sales rep, because the product manager identifies key performing indicators for a product, helps distinguish the product from competitors. Marketing strategy helps sales rep in increasing the sales revenue. So product manager develops tools and techniques which will be key for sales personnel to sell the product. Product manager also creates reports and statistics on how a particular marketing tool has helped in increasing a sales of a product. Marketing personnel provides sales rep with the required information such as documents, brochures, regulatory information, flyers, which will be utilized by sales rep to sell products to surgeons. Product managers are also responsible for conducting workshops and demonstrations of a mass audience of surgeons. These workshops and demonstrations are the key to increase the confidence level of surgeons in using a product, thereby allowing salesperson to sell more. So most important aspect in marketing is maintaining the regulatory compliance and norms, because unverified or wrong product marketing can lead to legal complexity for product manager and company. Now let's talk about regulatory affairs in medical devices. So starting with regulatory compliance, regulatory affairs professional plays an important role advising the team on appropriate regulatory strategies to ensure the product can be legally marketed. So from the earliest meetings, regulatory affairs must advise the product team on how decisions may affect the type of regulatory submission required. They also help understand the timelines for a product to be placed in the market as per the regulatory timelines. Regulatory strategy for products that will be distributed internationally, regulatory affairs must also coordinate with regional teams to ensure the product has a global regulatory strategy. To be effective in this role, the regulatory affairs professional must understand the international regulatory requirements this device will be subject to and ensure that the product development team considers this international requirements as they test and validate the device. Talking about regulatory submission, when product design is complete and a company is ready to market the device, the product development team relies on regulatory affairs to draft a successful marketing submission. So in the United States, the most common type of submission is a pre-market submission, also known as 510K. This 510K helps regulatory affairs must also identify a similar device, which is already legally marketed, which is known as predicate. So this submission must be then demonstrated that the new device is substantially equivalent to the predicate one. If no predicate device is available, regulatory affairs must submit a pre-market approval or PMA to demonstrate that the device is safe and effective for its intended use. medical device labeling. Medical device product labeling is regulatory affairs are responsible for reviewing all product labeling associated with the product to ensure that all claims are consistent with the approved and intended use. Marketing claims are key for medical device teams to differentiate your company's product from that of a competitor. But any claims that speak to use that has not been cleared or approved by the FDA puts the company at risk of receiving a warning letter for misbranding. As a result, medical device companies rely on their regulatory affairs team to ensure all materials associated with the device are appropriate. Post-market surveillance. So medical device companies also rely on the regulatory affairs team after a device is cleared or approved. In the post-market setting, the regulatory function is involved in device surveillance, ensuring that any adverse events or malfunction are appropriately reported to FDA. Post-market surveillance report enable company to identify trends in complaint data and act as a warning system when the device has an unintended effect. For instance, if a company receives several adverse event reports indicating an implant device is causing unexpected pain weeks after surgery, it's possible that there's an issue with the device that is causing the pain. Regulatory affairs staff review post-market surveillance reports and work with the FDA to initiate voluntary recalls in this situation to prevent unintended harm to the patients. Now, international regulatory affairs. So while interacting with the FDA as the key in the United States, regulatory affairs must also work with the international health authorities and regulators in each country the company resides to market its device. In some countries with less mature medical device regulation, the marketing clearance or approval by the FDA can be relied upon to obtain the clearance or the approval. Many countries throughout the world have their own medical device regulations. However, regulatory affairs must understand the difference in global regulatory requirement and ensure that new products can be marketed. The global regulatory landscape is always changing, so successful regulatory affairs teams follow global trends and are aware of new regulations or programs. Now let's talk about project management. So the project manager has control over three factors: what has to be done, when it must be done, and how much in terms of resources must be dedicated to the project. So as we see, the whole project consists of discovery of or the ideation of a device, invention of prototyping, preclinical, clinical, regulatory decision, product launch, and post-market monitoring. So this whole thing can be considered as one project. So in conclusion, medical device industry is vast with several career options to choose from. Medical device is a growing and evolving field and roles are constantly developing. A lot of opportunities for growth and widened professional expertise within medical device industry. So I would like to wish you all a good luck, because medical device is a great field to be in. And I've just given top 20 medical device companies by 2020 revenue, and the number one being Medtronic. So you can choose any of it. Also, I would like to recommend watching a Netflix documentary on medical device industry, The Bleeding Edge. I would just like to show a quick trailer.
Have you ever had any surgeries?
I had a medical device that broke, leaving fragments everywhere, which set off a connective tissue disorder that started deteriorating my joints.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's like...
Medical devices are everywhere.
It's pretty amazing. Tongue depressors.
Prosthetic limbs.
Implants.
Pacemakers.
Because it's everywhere, we have to be careful.
There's this hunger to have the newest technology.
New equates to unproven.
I thought it was simple, and it all made sense.
It costs $25 to bring to market, and they sell for $2,000 a pop.
It's a very profitable part of the healthcare system.
Companies' new products may not be safer than other products in the market, but they will promote them to drive up their profits.
What they did was willfully ignore the risks that they were putting these people to without telling them.
After my operation, I started having health issues.
Back pain, it was debilitating. I could barely walk.
I was going blind. I was seeing stars.
It changed the full direction of my life.
How can you clear something that's been shown to be dangerous?
It's gotten worse over time because of greed.
Welcome to the business.
My mom can't keep a job because she has to go to the doctors a lot.
They said I shouldn't feel anything, that the pain was in my head. I was thinking, what's going to happen to my kids if I don't wake up?
People think pharma's got power. No, 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 no. The device industry has much more power.
The medical device industry has incredible levels of influence in Washington, D.C.
We have more power in this room than most governments around the world.
We can no longer rely on the medical device companies to do what's in the best interests of the patient.
They don't really care if it's harming people.
This is big business.
People are getting injured. We got to fix something.
I have nightmares all the time. He never leaves me.
The only good thing is knowing I'm not alone.
Do you have no purpose? We won't stop. I don't know how anyone could let this happen. This has to come to an end.
Yes, so that's it from my side. We can start with the Q&A. And yes.
So there are a few questions in the chat box.
I'm unable, so I'll have to, I think I'll have to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. All right. This is my, if you want to connect with me, I'm available on LinkedIn, and that's my personal email address. Feel free to contact me anytime. Yes, so I don't see the chat. Oh, yes, right here. Perfect. So I think there is first one, what is the benefit of doing medical device and regulatory affairs course in foreign if you want to work in India? Out of 3 job profile, which is the most challenging one? Wow, it's an interesting question, Nilansh. Thank you so much for asking that. So I would say the benefit of doing medical device and regulatory affairs course abroad, that is, like I said, I customized my course as project management and regulatory affairs. So it's more to do with the exposure which we get abroad. Honestly, I don't have experience of the regulatory affairs course in India, but what I can tell you is the studies here in States give me exposure for the global market. So it was not pertaining to a specific targeted market. It was global market, which I learned. And the best part is I was able to interact with the people, the professors were working as the regulatory professional. They had the exposure over the years, and they shared the experience with me. So I got a good insight on how regulatory affairs functions, and international regulatory affairs was on the similar lines. And coming to your second question, out of 3 job profile, honestly, I like the one which I started my career with sales rep. So attending surgeries in the operating room, that was personally satisfying, and I did like what I did. As a salesperson, I was enjoying my job. So day in and out, I used to work with the surgeons. I tried to understand how I can help him in the surgery, and to see the relief on patient's face, it was a good experience. It's amazing experience. You feel blessed about it because patients are healthy and walking after the surgery. So Mr. Kostub has asked, how do I prepare for regulatory affairs interview? So for a regulatory affairs interview, I believe there are, it depends on what kind of a role you are choosing within the regulatory affairs section. Like if you are going for a country specific regulatory affairs, it is important to know that particular country specific requirements. So for example, what kind of strategy you will utilize to place a product in the market. That's the most common, and they definitely ask what will be the best regulatory strategy you will use to place the product on the market. So Mr. Yash has asked how to get job in FDA in regulatory affairs. Honestly, it's very easy if you score good, and US FDA is always hiring. They always have the position for regulatory affairs professional. So it's possible to get an entry into the market. And but US FDA doesn't pay well because it's a government sector after all.
There is one
So
more
there is one.
question.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we want to do sales and marketing in India, what will be the best to do MBA in, whether it is in India or foreign?
So you want to work in sales and marketing in India? Is that the question?
Yeah, yeah.
So honestly, doing MBA in India is fine if you want to just stick to sales and marketing. A good MBA degree from a reputed university would be fine. It's not necessary to go abroad for MBA degree. But unless you want to explore more areas within the industry, yes. For sales and marketing, I would recommend to just stick to MBA in India.
Okay, there is one more question from the Nilanch. Which country is the best to invest in medical devices?
Like invest in medical device as a student, or if
I
I'm
think,
developing a product?
yeah, I think, yeah, according to that, means as an entrepreneur, he's asking about.
As an entrepreneur, Israel is doing really good. Israel is one of the topmost country for it's full of entrepreneurs. They are developing brilliant innovations, and they're coming up with new medical devices. Every year we see more and more number of medical devices which are very unique, innovative, and it's very difficult as a regulatory body. It's difficult to manage that because there is no predicate device, so you can't compare it with anything which is already developed. And yeah.
Okay, and I think the last question is best country to do regulatory affairs and medical devices course.
I would say United States because like I have customized my course. I think the flexibility of customizing the course with the number of subjects you take, the type of subjects you take, it's amazing. Like I did specific regulatory with the medical device and the project management. So I don't think any university in any other country would allow me to do that. Also, there are a number of universities which are focusing on medical device regulations.
Okay. Any the final this question is any tips for these students? Means they are in the third year or final year. So for the medical devices career, what they should think, what they should plan at this point.
So if you are in third year, fourth year, or like about to graduate, I would highly recommend doing internships because on-site experience helps you learn a lot rather than just books. Yes, books are important. That is very true. But implementing that books into into practical life, that's really important. So do as much as internship possible, even if it's like for a short duration, 1 week, 1 month, whatever. Try to get as many certificates, try to get recommendations, try to build your network, because the most important thing is building your network. More number of people you know in the industry, it will be easier for you to like flow into the medical device industry, because medical device industry is a very small industry if we compare it to any other industry, but it's growing at a faster rate. So small niche market, but everybody knows everybody. That's the kind of thing. So if you know somebody, try to network more and more.
Okay, I think that's it. So over to you, Umesh sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. So now I would like to thank our today's speaker, Mr. Hitarth Pandey, sir, for taking out his time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. I would like to thank our principal, sir, for encouraging us to uh, organize such a webinar series. I would like to thank Mr. Professor Mr. Praveen Naik, sir, for cooperating. I would like to thank all the students and all the participants who are present over here. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Sadakat sir.
Thank you, Hitat sir.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully I see you guys in medical device industry soon.
Yes, yes. So
All right.
based on the
Thank you.
questions, yeah, we can hope so.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.